No. Are we on? Rockfin, are we on? Hello? Shoot. Anyways, hey guys, sorry for the dead air. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. I thought Rockfin kind of started up real quick. Oh, something really weird happened on Rockfin. I thought I was going to get some luck and that Rockfin was going to start up quickly for me, but now it appears that it was one of those not happening things. So, guys, follow me on Rockfin. I'm starting another stream right now. What is going on? I don't know what is happening on Rockfin. Jeez. Well, I thought I was going to get lucky and the Rockfin was going to start right up for me, but now something really weird is going on. I don't know what is happening. Oh, geez. Sorry about that, guys. Hate to start the show with all kinds of weirdness. But anyways, welcome, everyone. Early chatters are in. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected, except for not Rockfin at the moment. Trying to start it up. Let me try one more time. Let me try one more time. I think I'm going to have to delete that live session and start another one because it just wasn't gonna go. We'll try again. We will try again. Hello, and I think we have something going on here. Okay. No. Okay. Rockfin is completely not working right now. So we will let that go for today. Sorry, my Rockfin viewers. We're going to have to... I'm going to have to upload this later, and we're going to have to reconvene tomorrow. I don't know why Rockfin is being like that. Super frustrating. Super frustrating. I don't know. Anyways, but thank you. We have 3,200 followers on Rockfin. Hardy har har. 3,200 viewers on Rockfin. Like 400 more than we have on... Okay, now we're live on Rockfin. Guys, hello. We are live on Rockfin. All right, so if anybody wants to come join me on Rockfin, we are live now. It's working. Thank you very much. Whew. It only took me 2 or 3 minutes to get that going, but it's all good. Muzza, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Or maybe 4 minutes to get that going. Yeah, Jacob, it was open, but it was telling me that the video was only 11 seconds long and it was cutting off, so it wasn't continuing to go. And so I don't know what happened. But anyways, there's a stream going now at Rockfin, and Rockfin is on, and I will come greet the viewers and the chatters at Rockfin in a moment. Guys, please join me on Rockfin, where again, I have 3,200 followers, 400 more than YouTube, and I've only been on Rockfin for a year. Because I do have stock in Rockfin. They have stock in me. They actually pay me in cryptocurrency as part of like the company. So yeah, it's like a share. It's like a co-op in a way. Like they pay out they're content creators in crypto, and it's actually pretty cool because the crypto has gone up in value a lot. So it's kind of a cool deal. And just like YouTube, the more followers I have on Rockfin, the more people watch me on Rockfin, the more, I can collect some crypto and keep going. Thanks, Jacob Gordon. Yes, you are here. Thanks for checking in on Rockfin. Good to see you. All right, let's get into it, guys, because a lot of time has already been wasted. But hello, everybody. Interglacial Optimist, 989, Big Boss, Brian Melt, Judy Truitt, Kuro Hikes, Black Bears, Mod, Muzza. Everybody welcome Muzza, the moderator. Gene, hello. Because of my membership here, is joining Rockfin. I don't know. No, it actually doesn't have anything to do with that, Gene. It has everything to do with what's going on with YouTube. Because Rockfin doesn't unsubscribe people from me. That's why. So, in the last 3 days, I gained 20 or 30 followers. I might have lost one, and that's how it goes. In a natural ecosystem, that's how it would go on YouTube as well. I would gain 20 or 30 followers every couple days and maybe lose one or two. But, for some reason, I can't gain any followers on YouTube, and I only lose followers. So that is not natural and not normal. That doesn't have anything to do with me or what I'm doing or how I'm running my channel, or, because people don't like me, or I'm saying things that people don't like, or my face is funny or my mouth is funny. It has nothing to do with what I'm doing. It has everything to do with what YouTube is doing. Actually, what I'm doing is great and fantastic, if I don't say so myself, because I'm gaining followers on Rockfin every day. That's the way it should go. I have lots of viewers every single day. That's the way it should go. Because I'm presenting pertinent information that you won't go get anywhere else on any other channel, right? There's no other channel that's like my channel. And I know I'm blowing myself up right now. But there's no other channel that occupies the lane that I occupy, which is, some progressive politics, some insight into what's going on in the world of the military-industrial complex and the deep state and the oligarchs, et cetera, combining that with up-to-date, genuine, real information about the climate catastrophe. There's no other channel that's doing what I'm doing, period. The end. I know this because if there was another channel that was like mine, I would be watching it. Anyways. Brian Melt, I feel you. Brian Melt says, I'm just so tired of so many accounts, password, security features. You're right. I totally feel you. I try to keep things simple, and that's why I'm kind of getting people to get onto Rockfin. There probably is other things for people to, places for me to live stream, but I don't want to fragment my viewership too much. But if there was a channel, like a really great channel for me to jump over to that was working, that had all the features that YouTube had and allowed me to have, if there was something that combined Rockfin and YouTube at the same time, it would be awesome. And so anybody who knows anything like that, let me know. Robert Arajo said, a wise man told me, anytime you do good for the people, you will face great opposition indeed. Oh, thank you. I'm Sweetleaf, thank you. Yep, Kuro Hikes, real-time back. And that's another feature, I guess, that doesn't really happen on other channels. Most channels just talk at their viewers. They might answer a few questions at the end of the show. Sometimes they have question and answer shows, but rarely do live stream hosts interact with their viewers. Very rarely. You're right. Thank you for pointing that out, Kuro. Anyways, I'm done talking about me. How about you guys? How are you? Let's Basil Peterson says, if you want to tell the truth, do it with laughter or they will kill you. I laughed. And then I laughed. Anyways, let's get into it. So some weather extremes going on. And they are weather extremes due to the big bad and the ugly climate change. And, the reason why this channel exists, one of the reasons why this channel exists, the issue is that they won't tell you why these weather extremes are happening. More and more the media, I guess, ecosystem, the more and more the media are being forced to acknowledge climate change or acknowledge the connection between weather extremes and climate change. But they are still doing everything they can to ignore it. So I'm going to talk about this very quickly. This morning, right, I was walking by the TV. My dad was watching TV, and I was walking by the TV, and they were talking about how cold it was going to be in the U.S., and they showed a big old blob of cold air, a polar vortex blob of cold air in the U.S., and I had to stop and sit there and watch the weather report and, see what they were going to say about it. They were like, golly gee, this cold air, a lot of cold air. It's going to be very cold. I was like waiting for them to say, like, well, are you going to tell people why it's really cold? Why is there a polar vortex happening? Why is this cold air leaking out of the Arctic when it's supposed to remain in the Arctic? And why is the jet stream so loopy? No, they didn't go into that at all. They didn't tell you that the Arctic is extremely warm and shouldn't be as warm as it is. We've been covering it for the last couple days. We've been talking about this extreme Arctic warmth, November being, the warmest November on record in the Arctic. Incredible temperature anomalies going on in the Arctic, and that is why all the cold air that should be in the Arctic is now over the United States, but they won't even go there. They won't even go there. Anyway, so let's see if New York Times goes there. Let's see about that. New York Times says major winter storm brings snow, heavy rain, and wind to the East Coast. Forecasters are watching a strong storm system that will cover a long swath of the East Coast from Georgia to New England. First major winter storm of the season is expected to bring heavy snow, widespread rain, and strong to severe thunderstorms to the East Coast through Wednesday. National Weather Service forecaster said some areas are already seeing scattered power failures. Heavy rains were possible, et cetera, et cetera. Forecaster said a strong storm system that was bringing widespread inclement weather across the eastern United States and also the Midwest and also the southern, because it's a huge blob of polar air that is over. If you just look at the temperature maps in the United States, there's this just gigantic purple blob of cold air. About 30,000, let me see. 30,000 customers were without power in Maine. Snow was forecast to start falling on Tuesday in southwest Pennsylvania and northern West Virginia, which estimated accumulations of 4 to 7 inches. According to the National Weather Service in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Winter storm warnings in those areas will remain in effect until 7 a.m. Wednesday. Snow is expected to blanket portions of north central and northeast Ohio. Storm warnings there. Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, etc. Georgia also had a winter storm advisory. Storm is expected to strengthen and grow in size through Monday evening. Metropolitan New York region, more extreme weather, etc. So all over the East Coast, and let's go more into this. So here you go. So I'm going to play this video. And again, they're going to talk about all these crazy extreme weather things that are happening in the U.S. Well, the title is As Meteorological Winter Begins, here are 5 extreme weather patterns to look for. So they talk about these extreme weather patterns, but they don't ever say the word climate change, not one time. And, pretty much all of these things you can attribute to climate change, all of these extreme weather patterns. Here we go.
First, we'll start. December 1st is the start of meteorological winter, and here are the 5 extreme weather patterns you need to watch out for this time of the year. First, we'll start with the northeast snowstorm pattern. This is when we see a big dip in the jet stream and a blocking high over Greenland.
Why is there a dip in the jet stream?
Snow and more snow for the East Coast. Next up,
can you tell us
the
why?
Arctic Express. This is when that Arctic air seeps south of Canada, and when it does, it can bring us our coldest air
Why is this happening?
of the season.
You gonna let us know?
This next one is for Washington, Oregon, and California, and it's the atmospheric river. This is when moisture plumes come from the tropics or subtropics, and it brings a whole lot of rain and feet of snow.
Why? Why is that happening?
For the middle part of the country, ice storms. That's what you have to watch out for. Massive ice storms that can extend 100 miles, and it all sets up along the battleground of the jet stream, separating the cold air from the warm air.
Why is the jet stream so low?
Let's not forget lake effect snow. Rounds of cold air coming in from Canada. Well, they can lead to heavy snow events.
Whoa, so crazy. All these crazy, these weather extremes. Whoa, wonder why this is happening. Nobody knows. Just not one word about climate change. Not one word about the Arctic being overly warm. Not one warm word about atmospheric river never being really a meteorological term that was used so frequently as it is now. Why? Because of climate change, because of the extreme amount of moisture in the atmosphere, and that is because of climate change. And she just didn't go there the entire video. That just anyways. Poppy Davis says they'd lose viewers, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, coincidentally crazy climate, says TCR. Yeah. Why is the jet, she was talking about the ice storms, along the jet stream. Why is the jet stream all the way down in Arizona? That's not what is supposed to be happening. That is abnormal weather. That is abnormal for the jet stream to be doing those loops. Those loops only started in recent history, and because of Arctic amplification, temperature amplification, it just, mind-boggling. So yes, earlier this morning I was watching the weather broadcast, and they just didn't say one word about climate change, and I was just absolutely beside myself, of course, because they will not tell people what's going on. They refuse to tell people what's going on. That is the conspiracy. If you're unclear. Okay, so, that's what's happening here. This is what's happening there in Australia. Queensland, more heat waves in Australia. Queensland registers record temperatures as heat wave intensifies in first days of summer. Australia being at the forefront of extreme weather and extreme weather effects. Heat records have tumbled today, with sweltering conditions intensifying in parts of southern Queensland. The Bureau of Meteorology says Warwick set a new December record of 40.8 degrees Celsius, while Applethorpe registered 37.5 C, passing a previous high for the month of 36.8 C that was set in 1972. A trough system that brought scorching temperatures to southwest Queensland over the last few days now has its sight set on parts of Maranoa and Warrego and Darling Downs and Granite Belt. The mercury was forecast to hit 46 degrees Celsius And Gundawindi, 44C in St. George. 46C is incredible too. 41 in Dalby and 37 in Toowoomba. What is 46C again? Let's find out for our. Oh no, it's not a bra. Not looking for a 46C bra. 114, 114 degrees. Lordy, that's hot. I'm going to say hello to the people on Rockfin. What's going on, Rockfin viewers? Ryan Gorman, Jacob Gordon, Jay Thadcast, Sweetleaf, Urban Hermit. What's going on, guys? Thanks for hanging out with me. Good to see you all on the Rockfin. Peggy Gravel, what's going on? Let's see. So yes, extreme heat, and also from extreme temperatures around the world, which is a good Twitter account to follow. If you want to know about extreme temperatures around the world, it pretty much sums it up in their handle. With no surprise, November 2020 in Australia was the warmest on record with an anomaly of 2.47 C versus 1961 to 90 averages. So, just a little while ago. Bureau of Meteorology still uses the 61 to 90 averages, but this won't change the first place of November 2020. The current heat wave affecting the country will end on Saturday, apparently. Let's move on to a tweet from Go Green. I guess you guys couldn't see that tweet. I apologize. I'll go back and maybe you can see it now, I hope. Yeah, maybe you can see it now. Well, I'm showing you the graph from Australia now. Sorry. Anyways, November 2020 was warmest on record in Australia. And there you go. So moving on to this article from The Guardian. This is kind of big news. A few people sent me this, some version of this article. And I appreciate y'all sending me the info. But I actually saw this on the Twitter. Go Green tweeted this out, what I say every day: humanity is waging war on nature. This is suicidal. Nature always strikes back. Biodiversity is collapsing. 1 million species are at risk. Ecosystems are disappearing before our eyes, says UN Secretary General. So let's go to this article from The Guardian from today. Humanity is facing a new war, unprecedented in history. The Secretary General of the UN has warned. Well, that sounds... Is he just being hyperbolic? Is he being pessimistic? Is he causing the youth to become deflated? Man, I really wish this Antonio Guterres, the Secretary of the General, would shut up, because he's, scaring the children and all that. How dare you? How dare you be this pessimistic? Antonio Guterres. Stark message from Antonio Guterres follows. Anyways, well, let me finish reading the sentence. The Secretary General of the UN has warned, which is in danger of destroying our future before we have fully understood the risk. The moment when we become aware might be the moment when it's too late for that awareness to have any effect. And mainly, a lot of people feel that that moment is already now. Guterres, let me see. The stark message from Antonio Guterres follows a year of global upheaval, with the coronavirus pandemic causing governments to shut down whole countries for months at a time. While wildfires, hurricanes, and powerful storms have scarred the globe, Guterres says humanity is waging war on nature. This is suicidal. Nature always strikes back, and it is always doing so with growing force and fury. I mean, even if you don't understand or can't get your mind around the idea of global warming, the evidence that we are destroying the planet, the environment, nature, ecology, etc., the evidence that we're doing that hand over fist is undeniable and unavoidable. I mean, even if you took out global warming or took out climate change, if you took it out of the equation of what we're doing to the planet, we're doing plenty to the planet without even the warming. But, put it all together and you get a great big ball of fun. Human activities are at the root of our descent towards chaos, but that means human action can help to solve it. He listed the human-inflicted wounds on the natural world, the spread of deserts, wetlands lost, forests cut down, oceans overfished and choked with plastic, dying coral reefs, air pollution killing 9 million people a year, more than the current pandemic, and the fact that 75% of new and emerging human infectious diseases have, like COVID-19, come from animals. Though Guterres, like his two predecessors, has frequently spoken on the dangers of the climate crisis, this was his strongest language yet. The UN was founded 75 years ago at the end of the Second World War to try to promote world peace after two devastating global conflicts. Guterres made a deliberate invocation of that original mission, applying it to the climate and biodiversity crises. Making peace with nature is the defining task of the 21st century, he said in a virtual address entitled The State of the Planet at Columbia University in New York. It must be the top priority for everyone everywhere. Well, yeah, making peace with nature means ending many of the human activities which we are involved in. Like 95% of them. Manufacturing, shipping, making, agriculture, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. Flying, driving, etc., etc. He said future generations would face ruin from our actions today. This is an epic policy test. Maybe. But ultimately, this is a moral test. Maybe. We cannot use our resources to lock in policies that burden future generations with a mountain of debt on a broken planet. Ding. He also put inequality firmly at the heart of the problem, warning that the poorest and most vulnerable, even in rich countries, were facing the brunt of the attack. Guterres said greenhouse gas emissions were 62% higher than when international climate negotiations began in 1990. See how well they've been working? They've been working so well that emissions are 62% higher. All these the negotiations and the things, the COPs and the IPCC and the Paris Agreement and all these things have been working so well. A report from the World Meteorological Organization, also published on Wednesday, found 2020 was on track to be one of the 3 warmest years on record globally, despite the cooling effects of the La Nina weather system. And that is very true and also very frightening. And yes, we're not. It's probably not going to be the warmest, but it's going to be second or third warmest. And in a La Nina year, where would we be if it was a El Nino year? We're number one. We're number one. We're number one. Humans are so number one. While the past decade was the hottest in human history, and ocean heat was found to be at record levels. And, charts and things. I wonder what this means. This means the weather is always changing. The climate is always changing. Or something. Well, this is when the climate was always changing. Up, down, down, up, down. Oh. This. If you just look at the trend line here. Whoops. Where follow the trend line? Where is this trend line? I would love to see more graphs, including, out here. Extend the timeline. And the trend line, just extend the timeline so you could just make a little dotted hash mark, like, where is this going? Psh, through the roof, or, below the floor, to the bottom, or to the top, wherever it is we're going. All the way to the bottom, or all the way to the top. I would love to see more graphs, including a little broken trend line. If you just follow the trend line, boop. Even the impacts of the coronavirus crisis, greenhouse gas emissions are set to rise again this year. However, Gutierrez also struck a note of hope. Oh, what is it? What's the hope? Many countries, including the biggest emitter, China, the EU, and the U.S. President-elect Joe Biden, have adopted targets of reaching net zero emissions around the middle of the century. So, golly, guys, get happy. Buy yourself a new Tesla or something. Rejoice, for we have committed to net zero by 2050. And everything's going to be fine. He said, I firmly believe that 2021 can be a new kind of leap year, the year of a quantum leap towards carbon neutrality. Sound economic analysis is our ally. Is it now? Okay. This is where it kind of goes off the rails, of course. Whenever they get to but there's hope on the horizon. But we can turn things around, and this is how we're going to do it. That's when it always just like becomes just a jumble of bullshit jello. Can I have another bowl of gruel or bullshit jello? Sounds delicious. Investors and governments must seize the opportunity to flick the green switch while there's still time. I love these, you can just flick the switch like that, and we can just cure climate change. I love these, very visual, these lovely visuals of just flicking a green switch, and boom. We're on the road to recovery, and that's it. That's all we got to do. He looked ahead to the vital UN COP26 climate talks to be hosted by the UK next year at a moment when nations should make a decisive turn towards a green global economy. In 10 days' time, Guterres, along with the French government, and Boris Johnson, will host a summit of world leaders to prepare for the COP26 talks that were postponed by a year to next November because of the pandemic. At the Climate Ambition Summit, which marks 5 years since the forging of the Paris Agreement, and, look how much we're doing. We're going in the right direction, guys, because 5 years on, climate change is kicking everybody's ass, so we're making progress there. Governments are expected to affirm plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions drastically in the next decade, in line with their long-term goals. All right. And let's see how that, but we're gonna have to wait a decade to see how that actually plays out, or maybe we'll have to wait 2 decades, or maybe 3 decades to see how that's going to play out. And probably how that's going to play out is, oops, we missed it. Earlier this week, the Climate Action Tracker, sounds like action is being taken. Climate Action Tracker calculated that if all the net zero pledges made by the governments and leaders were to be fulfilled, temperatures would rise by about 2.1 C above pre-industrial levels. So if all the net zero pledges were kept, if they were all the pledges were kept, we're going to go past the target that we're supposed to stay under. How's that for good news? All right. That is not far above the upper limit set by the Paris Agreement. So, we're just going to miss it by a little bit, guys. So that'll be fine. That'll be fine. of holding temperatures to no more than 2 C above pre-industrial levels, regarded as the limit of safety, beyond which climate breakdown is likely to become catastrophic and irreversible. Yeah, we're missing that. We're missing that even if we meet all those goals. So there, he's admitting that this is a failure. We're failing even if we meet all these wonderful, beautiful, lovely green. If we flick the green switch, we blew it. We still blew it. So perhaps that green switch needs to be a little bit bigger, or maybe it doesn't have to be a switch at all. Maybe we don't have to flick any switch. Maybe we just need to get out, go off grid, get out of the system. We need to flick the switch to off. That's the biggest green switch we can flick, is the off switch on industrial civilization. However, that depends on long-term targets set for decades hence to be fulfilled with action now. So we're still going to miss the target, and even missing the target depends on people actually taking real action now. So, and we're going to blow that too. So what happens when we look at everything with realistic, the realistic lenses in our glasses on? Okay, we're gonna blow those. We're gonna blow the action that we need to take now. We're not gonna do that. So what happens in 30 years when we've blown that? Where are we at? We're not at 2.1. We're at what, 3? We're at extinction. Yeah. Anyways, and yes. Gutierrez warned that pledges were not enough in themselves. No, they're not. He's right about that. He said, we need all governments to translate these pledges into policies, plans, and targets with specific timelines. This will provide certainty and confidence for businesses and the financial sector to invest for net zero. Again, there is not an economic solution to this. The only economic solution to this is an economic degrowth solution. And all the economic solutions are based on growth economics. So the only economic solution is for everyone to acknowledge and admit that we need to lower our consumption, lower our energy usage. We need to commit to less of everything. And that would be the biggest action item that we could make or take or commit to. Gutierrez called for countries to put a price on carbon emissions. Bullshit. Stop investing in fossil fuels and phase out fossil fuel subsidies. Okay, fine, we should do that. Stop building new coal power plants. Fine, we should do that. How about China? How about India? How about Africa? How about the Middle East? Are they going to commit to that too? And to shift their fiscal base from taxing incomes to taxing pollution. Really? Okay, that's weird. Shift a fiscal base from taxing incomes to taxing... No. We should do both, but we should actually tax incomes at 100% above $100,000. That's my progressive tax policy for the People's Party, peoplesparty.org. My progressive climate change tax policy is tax people at 100% above $100,000. That's the only way we're going to take actual, real action on climate change. Or maybe that's the tax policy of the Black Bear Party, the new environmental party that's going to start winning elections next year, or the next year, whenever that is. Our climate policy is taxing incomes at 100% above $100,000. So nobody makes over $100,000. That's all you get, because anything over $100,000 is basically going to be used to destroy the planet. And so you don't need that. We don't need that. We'll be taking that money and we'll be putting it towards feeding and housing people at zero cost. Everybody gets a UBI. Everybody gets a house. everybody gets food while we transition to a sustainable economy, which is just a local regional economy where everybody grows their food and makes all their own stuff. No shipping, no airplanes, no cars. I know, it sounds wild. Sounds crazy. And there's some people who would be like, whoa, that sounds so Agenda 2030. I don't know if it sounds Agenda 2030. I'm going to get into that in the very near future. I want to get into the subject of the Great Reset, Agenda 2030, and actual action on climate change, because I feel like there's a lot of people talking about the Great Reset and Agenda 2030 and all that stuff, and climate change being used as a lever for governments to take control. And this is a very real subject. This is a very real and serious subject, which I'd like to tackle on a deeper level, but I can't. I'm not going to do that right now. But all of that doesn't take away from the fact that climate change is real and happening faster than anybody really wants to admit. And so what can we actually do in the face of climate change to restore the planet and get into some kind of equilibrium with the planet? What can we actually do to do that? Anyways, they go on and talk about money, and it's all about money, and it's all about the economy and switching the economy, and that's how we're going to do it, and they're all full of shit. All of them are full of shit. But that's where we're at. The UN is, dooming out people. So wrong. Why are you going to doom the people out? Why would you do that? Arcadius, thank you so much for the super chat. Arcadius says, I never understood why commercial air travel was not banned since the 1980s. No one should have a vacation at the cost of the ecosystems. I agree with you. I don't see that air travel is going to be banned anytime soon. I doubt it. Obviously, air travel should go immediately. Planes should be grounded immediately. The entire airline industry should be grounded immediately if we really cared about climate change. But that is so far outside of anybody's understanding. Even progressives, even people who are like Green New Dealers and Bernie Sanders supporters and People's Party supporters, even progressives are like, whoa, yeah, that's too radical for me, bro. But that is absolutely what needs to happen. And, we could probably do that in the next 5 years. If we did that in the next 5 years, that would be a monstrous step towards lowering emissions as quickly as we need to without damaging the planet, without building more things. Building back the economy. No, that would actually be a huge dent in the economy, which is fine, which is great, which is what we need. We need a huge dent in the economy. And we need everybody to just accept that there needs to be a huge dent in the economy. We need to draw down our economy. We need to draw down our consumption. We need to draw down our wages. We need to all, live as they do in India. That's what we all need to do, is embrace an Indian lifestyle. Embrace a lifestyle that consumes as much as one might consume in India. Not a rich person in India. A regular ass person in India. Basil Peterson says, I'm more into soil microbes where most of life supports all terrestrial life. Yes, sir. The Violent Hippie says, ice machines to the Arctic, we're saved. And you guys said tech wasn't a solution. Loey Appett says, eco-fascism, no vacations, no SUVs, no meat. I don't think so. Well, a lot of people are not going to think so. A lot of people are going to be like, what are you talking about? I need my meat, and I need my SUVs, and I need my vacation. I need it now. Uh, yes, Irk1, New Indigenism. Indeed. That's a good name, New Indigenism. Yep. Rhonda Boy. Yes, good comment, Rhonda. Or Rhonda Boy. Cuba is the only advanced economy that is sustainable. I would say, yeah, look at Cuba. If you want to look at an economy that's sustainable and or much more in equilibrium with the planet and the earth and how people would have to live in order to have sustainable economies, that it would be Cuba. Cuba is a wonderful model for not eco. I mean, people would be like, oh, they're a fascist or they're communist. Not for eco-fascism, but eco-socialism. I would say Cuba is are they perfect? No. But way more down the road of being a sustainable model. India, am I hearing correct? Yes, Black Bears, Muzza, yes, you are hearing correct. Well, let me show you something, guys. I don't know if this will show up or not. I know I've gone way long, but I want to, oh, here we go. It did show up. Look, this is how, if everybody lived like they do in the U.S., 5 Earths. We need 5 Earths of resources. We don't, so that's death. If everybody lived like they did in Australia, 4.1, death and destruction. I imagine New Zealand is up there with or right alongside Australia. Maybe they might be 3. That's still death. Anything above 1 is death. Brazil, 1.7, death. China, 2.2, death. India, 0.7. India is the only major country on this list that uses less resources than the Earth provides in a year, right? So this is, India lives at a sustainable level, you know, as far as resource usage. We're not even talking about pollution. We're not talking about industrialization. We're not talking about destruction, you know, environmental destruction. We're not talking about any of those things. We're just talking about straight up resource use. India. And not rich people in India, the poor in India. That's why they use so little resources, because so many people are so poor or they live on subsistence farming. That's how the entire planet needs to live. I don't see Cuba on this list. I wonder. I'm very curious about where Cuba would show up on this list. But, you know, if you want to, here's the clue. Here's the big clue. Here's the big secret that nobody will tell you. Nobody will talk about. If you want to live sustainably on this planet, you must embrace poverty on the in the level that we know, you know, how we think of, you know, we think of everything as a standard of living and, you know, how people live, and we think, you know, how we live in the US is just totally normal and everybody should live this way, and if you live with a lot less, you're, you know, in poverty and that's terrible and you can't live like that and people shouldn't live. Nope. Remember when the missionary went to, what was it, island, Senegal? Or Senelese, the Senelese island where the natives killed the missionary? And the natives of that island are like, they don't want people to come to their island and disturb them. But they live, you know, very primitively, and that's not a bad word to say somebody lives primitively. They live like humans did thousands of years ago. They don't wear clothes, they don't wear shoes, or they don't wear a lot of clothes. They live off the land, and they like it. They like it that way. But we should, as you know, civilized, industrialized, you know, whatever, developed, et cetera, people look at how people like the Senelese live, and and go, that's how you live sustainably with nature. I know it sounds really like, oh my God, what? No clothes? Whoa. Oh my God. No cars? No, they're aware of what those things would do to their people and their habitat. Kuro Hike says lots of those third world countries in Central and South America are cutting down the rainforest or burning the rainforest, farming the rainforest, eating all the animals floating in the river. Yeah. Well, yeah. You're right. You're right. I think it has to be a combination of things, living with a lot less, embracing some poverty, and also embracing, the less children that you would be able to afford, embracing that poverty. Greg Gilmore says Cubans don't need heating and can't afford AC, which Americans can't live without. Well, and there you go. There's a clue. Americans, well, you're going to live without AC whether you like it or not, right? You can either choose to live without it, or, you can wait until it becomes 130 degrees and the power goes out, and then your ass is going to roast like a sausage. So I don't know. Figure it out. Either figure out how to deal with a little discomfort, or experience a whole lot of discomfort. Or I guess, enjoy your comfort until you're uncomfortable. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Sentinel Island. Yeah, I know I'm getting the name wrong. Yeah, but the Sentinelese, people are not supposed to go to the Sentinel Island, and Sentinelese will kill your ass if you go there. Anyways, guys. Michael Lee says, no blockchain or capitalism at all, Andy. Kevin is sort of hypocritical. Oh, well, yeah. Well, I'm hypocritical in the way that I live, but I'm not hypocritical in the fact that I understand that's what needs to be embraced. And I'm working towards embracing more of that lifestyle as time goes on. I'm kind of trying to balance a lot of things, and yeah, you're right, Michael Lee, you're totally right. I enjoy the developed country lifestyle as it stands. It's a weird thing to kind of like try and take yourself out of industrial civilization. It's a difficult thing for some people, easier for some, harder for others. But that doesn't mean that I can't see the truth of it. So you can call me a hypocrite if you want, but what I'm saying is correct. And I don't have to live it to be able to point it out. Do I encourage people to live it? I do. And do I encourage myself to try to live it? I do. So I work little by little to getting there, to using less things, to being less of a cog in the system. That's what I do. Doug Delane says everyone is hypocritical. If you take a warm shower, therefore you are a hypocrite. Yeah. But I'm saying as a cultural thing, right? And I'm just putting out ideas in there out in the world that people, aren't going to hear in a lot of places, and would do well to think about. Anyways, thank you, Basil Peterson. Thank you so much for the super chat. Basil says, my mom lived in Yugoslavia under Joseph Tito. She said they were not rich, but had all they needed. Tito was not for Stalin's ideas. There you go. You can have all you need, but not necessarily be rich, but you could be rich in quality of life. Anyways, guys, I've gone way too long. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. I will be back tomorrow at the regular time of 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until next time, peace. And to my friends on Rockfin, peace to you.